When you've gone through some stuff in the New Testament, also known as the Brit Hadashah or New Covenant, you've come across books that are either mentioned or phrases and words that appear in other books, whether they are pagan or biblical. So today we're going to look at those specifically, the books mentioned in Scripture, specifically in the Brit Hadashah. So first, we have the Mandara Theus 2:18, quoting Epidius, evil company corrupts good habits. That is found in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33. Epidemes the Oracellus in Titus chapter 1, verse 12 to 13, where Paul introduces Epimedes as, quote, a prophet of the Cretans. See Epidemes paradox. And we also have Aradius Phenomenia 5 in Acts 17:28, where Paul refers to the words of, quote, some of your own poets. Next, we have the book of Enoch, is referenced in Jude chapter 1, verse 4, verse 6, verse 13, verse 14, and 15. We have 2 Peter chapter 4 and chapter 3, verse 13, and John chapter 7, verse 38. We have the Apocryphon of Janus and Jambres. According to Origen, this is referenced in 2 Timothy chapter 3, verse 8, which says, as Janus and Jambres withstood Moses. The epistle to the Laodiceans appears in Colossians chapter 4, verse 16, where it says, read the epistle from Laodicea. The life of Adam and Eve is referenced in 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 14, which says Satan as an angel of light, and in chapter 12, verse 2, referring to the third heaven. A lost section of the Assumption of Moses in Jude 9, which talks about Michael, the body of Moses. Ascension of Isaiah, which is brought up in Hebrews chapter 11, verse 37, referencing they were sawn in two. Paul's letter to the Corinthians before 1 Corinthians, where in 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 9, it says, I wrote to you in my letter. And then finally, Paul's letter to the Ephesians before Ephesians, again in Ephesians chapter 3, verse 3, as I wrote afore in a few words. An unknown messianic prophecy, possibly from a non-canonical source, quoted in Matthew chapter 2, verse 23, that states he will be called a Nazarene. Nazarene is typically rendered as a Nazarene from Nazareth, as in Acts chapter 24, verse 5, where Christians are referred to as, quote, the sect of the Nazarenes or Nazarenes. This is speculated to be a vague allusion to a quote about Samson in Judges chapter 13, verse 5, that uses a similar sounding word, quote, the child shall be a Nazarite. An unknown version of Genesis, probably a Targum, Midrash, or other commentary, quoted by Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 45, as a reference to Christ being, quote, the last Adam who became a life-giving spirit. It has been speculated that Paul is simply paraphrasing Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, but there is no clear indication that this is not a complete quote. An unknown text quoted by Paul in 1 Corinthians chapter 2, verse 9, suggested by Origen to be a lost apocryphal book, but it is written, quote, no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no mind has imagined the things that God has prepared for those who love him. This also may be an allusion to the similar Isaiah 64:4, from days of old they have not heard or perceived by ear, nor has the eye seen a God besides you, who acts in behalf of the one who waits for him. And finally, an unknown messianic prophecy, possibly from a non-canonical source, quoted in Luke chapter 24, verse 46, speculated to be a vague allusion of Hosea chapter 6, verse 2. Thus it is written, and thus it is behoved Christ to suffer and to rise from the dead on the third day. And last but not least, an unknown messianic prophecy, possibly from a non-canonical source, quoted in Mark chapter 9, verse 12, speculated to be a vague allusion to Isaiah 53, quote, and how it is written of the Son of Man that he must suffer many things and be set at naught. And there we have it. Those are all the references to other non-canonical books or titles of references of either pagan or non-pagan that we see within the New Testament. Please, if you like this video, please like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment. Hope you have a blessed day.